Hello everyone, welcome to Deutschlernen. In this video you will learn the German alphabet from A to Z in a very simple and easy way. This video is perfect for beginners, so let's get started. So basically in the German language has a total of 30 alphabets. Out of these, 26 alphabets are the same as English alphabets from A to Z, but their pronunciation is different in German. Apart from that, German also have 4 extra letters. Let's learn them one by one. In the German, the letter A is pronounced as A. For example, Apfel, which means apple. So remember, A sound like A. The German letter B is pronounced as B. For example, Ball. B sounds like B in German. In German, C is pronounced as C. You won't see it alone very often, but its pronunciation is C. For example, computer. The letter D is pronounced as D. For example, danke, meaning thank you. D sounds like D. In German, E is pronounced as E. For example, Ente, that means bird. E sounds like short and clear E. In German, the letter F is pronounced as F. For example, fish, meaning fish. In German, the letter G is pronounced as G. For example, Gans, that means goose. The letter H is pronounced as H. For example, house, meaning house. So the letter pronounced as H. In German, I is pronounced as E. For example, Insel, meaning island. It sounds like long E. The German letter J is pronounced as J. For example, Junge, that means boys. Remember, J sounds like Y. In German, K is pronounced as K. For example, Katze, that means cat. Remember, K is pronounced as K. The letter L is pronounced as L. For example, Lampe, meaning lamp. L is pronounced as L.
In German, M is pronounced as M. For example, Mann, that means man. M is pronounced as M.
The letter N is pronounced as N. For example, Nase, that means nose. So, N pronounced as N. In German, O is pronounced as O. As a short O, for example, Orange, that means orange. Be remembered, it is pronounced as short Ko. The letter P is pronounced as P. For example, perfect, that means horse. In German, Q is pronounced as Q. It is mostly used with the letter U. For example, Quelle, that means fountain. The letter R is pronounced as R. The sound comes slightly from the throat. For example, Reken, that means plain. In German, S is pronounced as S. Sometimes it sounds like Z in words. For example, Zone, that means so.
The letter T is pronounced as T. For example, Tisch, meaning table.
In German, U is pronounced as U, short U. For example, Uhr, meaning clock. Be remember that it is pronounced as short U. The letter V is pronounced as V. In many words, it sounds like F. For example, Vogel, that means bird. In German, W is pronounced as V. It sounds like V in English. For example, Wasser, that means water.
The letter X is pronounced as X. It is used very rarely, but for example, xylophone, that means xylophone.
In German, Y is pronounced as Ypsilon, mostly used in foreign words. For example, yoga, that means yoga. The letter Z is pronounced as the set. For example, Zeit, meaning time. It is pronounced as the sec. So let's come to a new thing in German that's called Umlaut. What are Umlauts? In German there are 3 special vowels called Umlauts. They look like normal letter but with 2 small dots on top. These letters are A umlaut, O umlaut and U umlaut. Along with these, German also has one special letter called Eszett, which we will also learn today. Why are umlauts important? Umlauts can completely change the meaning of a word. If you pronounce them incorrectly, the word may sound wrong or even mean something different. That's why learning umlaut is very important for speaking correct German. Let's start with A umlaut. A umlaut sounds like A, similar to the sound E in the English word bed. For example, Äpfel, which means apples. Remember, A umlaut is not A like A. It is softer E sound. Next comes O umlaut. O umlaut is pronounced as U, but with rounded lips. To make this sound, say E, and round your lips like you are saying O. For example, Öl, which means oil. Umlaut is one of the most difficult sounds for beginners, but with practice it becomes easy, so keep practicing. Now let's talk about U umlaut. U umlaut is pronounced as EU, but with rounded lips. Say EU and round your lips tightly. For example, über, meaning over or above. U umlaut is very common in German, so practicing this sound is very important. Eszett or sharp S. Now let's talk about the special German letter Eszett. This letter is called Eszett, sh or sharp S. It sounds like a double S. For example, Straße, meaning street. You will never see Eszett at the beginning of a word, or Eszett before or after a S. Okay, alright, let's quickly recap what we learned in this video. The German alphabet has 30 letters in total. Out of these, 26 letters are the same as the English alphabet from A to Z. The letter looks familiar, but remember their pronunciation is different in German. We carefully learned how to pronounce each letter from A to Z with simple examples, so spelling, German names and words become easy for you. After that, we learned that the 4 special letters of German. The first 3 are called Umlauts, A umlaut, O umlaut and U umlaut. These letters changes the sound of the word and are very important in correct German pronunciation. And finally, we learn Eszett is called Eszett or sharp S. This letter sounds like a double S and appears in many German words. So if you remember just one thing from this lesson, remember this German alphabet are easy to learn, and with a little practice pronunciation will become natural. This alphabet is the foundation of German. Once this is clear, learning words, spelling, and speaking German become much easier. Great job for completing this lesson, and let's continue learning German together. So please subscribe us and keep following more videos.